Hi guys, welcome to Astrology 101. This is actually the very first lesson in what I hope will be a, I don't know, fairly successful web series. We'll talk about what successful might mean. My name is Molly Easley, and I am Soul School Tarot and Astrology on Facebook, on Instagram, in my house. Like that's just it's a something I've been working on for a couple of years now. I'll give you guys an opportunity to know a little bit about who I am, where I'm at in my life right now, why Soul School, and what do I want to get out of this? What would success look like? Yeah, welcome. This is the first lesson of many. Today, our topics are going to be just kind of want to set forth the Soul School mission. But the main idea behind this web series, this is something I've been percolating on for years and years and years, actually. And I'm going through all this amazing Empress energy in my life, and able to start, like, I had to free up a lot of time to pursue the things that I was being called to pursue. And this was one of them. The Empress energy is very fertile. And so it's time to give birth to this brainchild. And this brainchild is, as an educator, and as somebody who has been studying tarot and astrology for the purpose of just kind of introspection, just getting to know myself, trying to navigate through life, I've been doing that for about 20 years. And I've been an educator, baby doll. That's Fred. I've been an educator for many years as well. And I have just kind of a vision. I have some ideas about what I think would be a great way to teach the fundamental concepts. Boo boo, leave that alone. My pink one tonight. So I have ideas on what I think are going to be some of the best ways if you are out there studying astrology. What I've done is kind of taken my own path in teaching myself about astrology, and then I'm taking what I know about education and trying to boil it down to what's the easiest way to learn a really, really overwhelming and complicated topic, and that is astrology. So I'm a rambler. Okay, long story short, I want to teach you guys, I want to teach the world, I mean, whoever is out there and wants to know and feels like listening to me, I want to teach you guys about astrological archetypes. And so today's focus is going to be on what I like to call the Karmic Planets, Jupiter and Saturn. Both of them are residing in their ruling signs, the signs that they rule. So Jupiter is in Sagittarius right now, and Saturn is in Capricorn. Also, Jupiter just moved direct, and Saturn is still stuck in retrograde motion for about another month or so. And as we kind of go through today's video, I hope you guys will understand why I think this is a really, really, really important time to begin to talk about what is Jupiter, what is Saturn, what are the karmic planets. Also, what's going on lately is I've just been called to look at my own Jupiter transits over the last several years, the role that Saturn has been playing in my chart, because I've been going through some really, really, really tremendous changes, some that really snuck up on me. And if I've been paying attention, maybe I could have seen them coming. So we're going to talk about who are Jupiter and Saturn, what do they do in our charts, what are they doing right now. But first, let's take a step back and I'll let you get to know a little bit about Brady. Today is August 14th, 2019, and all over Facebook, all over the city, all over the world, kids are going back to school. It is the start of a new school year. And so it's just kind of like, we'll go back to this, okay? Why this is an important time of year for me, okay? And it's basically, I am, believe it or not, I'm 39 years old. And I can count on one hand the number of years, the number of Augusts that I have not been going back to school. I pursued my own higher education for about 10 years. I taught when I did that. I've been an educator for many, many years. So I've consistently been in education since 2006. So that's 13 years. That's a good cycle. And I don't intend on leaving anytime soon. But it's a hard day for me because I should be back in the classroom right now. At least that's what I thought. That was the plan. I resigned from my position. I was going into my third year of a teaching job at a school that I really love. It's in my hometown. Like, there are so many things I loved about this. But there were also a lot of obstacles, a lot of ways in which it was ultimately not good for my health. So I left my teaching job. That's a part of the big change that I'm going through. It's hard for me. I love being a teacher. I love being in the classroom. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I am going back to school I'm still in school this year. I'm working on my second master's degree. It's an online program. So what happens is I really end up missing just the physical coming together of people, which we're not doing here. We're doing on a screen, but, people coming together and talking. Like, I've got a Gemini moon. I got so much Mercury in my chart. I like to share boo-boo. Yeah. Sorry, that's Freddie. Freddie's my cat. I love sharing ideas with people. And so here we are. Welcome to my classroom. Welcome to our classroom. Welcome to Soul School. Yeah, it's a good time for me to be doing this. Anybody going back to school right now, anybody beginning a program of education like these, especially if it's higher education, these are things that are ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter rules the sign of Sagittarius. That's where it's at right now. You may know that it recently, just within the last couple of days, stopped traveling retrograde and began traveling in direct motion. And what that means is we're opening up a lot of amazing opportunities. Amazing opportunities. Ninth house energy, Sagittarius energy, Jupiter energy definitely rules education, growing, learning, adventuring, exploring, meeting new people. Maybe you're traveling. Like, what is it that you do that helps you learn about the world? That's Jupiter energy. And then, of course, I've got a tremendous amount of Virgo in my chart. So I like things to be very logical and ordered. And so school has always just kind of like, given me that. Not being back in the classroom, not having, I don't have a teaching job that I'm returning to right now. I have an after school program interview next week. I'm excited. So cross your fingers, new opportunities. Jupiter energy is telling me that the universe really has my back. However, long story short, if you're starting school right now, this is an amazing time to do it. Anything that you're starting right now, you have Jupiter's blessings. But you also have to wait about a month before you're going to start getting those blessings from Saturn. So, here's my metaphor for the time that we're in right now, with Jupiter being direct in Sagittarius and Saturn still being retrograde in Capricorn. Jupiter went direct this, Sunday. And the first time I got in my car, and I don't drive my car a lot, I can walk most places I didn't want to go, but I go and I get in my car. The next morning, Jupiter's direct, hallelujah, we're moving forward with things, and lo and behold, the construction zone that had blocked off the intersection, like the main intersection at the end of my block, was clear. That pathway was clear, okay? I couldn't go that way for the longest time. For months, you could not go down that road. Okay. And then suddenly you wake up one morning and that road is clear. Okay. Construction's over. It is time. 9th Street is open again. We are moving places again. However, I had to run across town and do something. And, it's a college town. I don't know if every town is like this, but like just road construction all summer long. Like half of 9th Street is just entirely out of order. Like, it's still being worked on. That energy right there is Saturn. Okay. Yes. Some pathways are open to you now that were not open to you before, but there's a lot of them that are still going to be closed. We still just have to wait a little while longer for some of these construction projects. Things that are tied to Saturn, okay? And like I said, we're going to get, this is all very introductory. Why are we talking about Jupiter and Saturn right now? So as I get deeper into that, we're going to understand basically these karmic planets. I associate Jupiter with lessons. No, stop it. Jupiter is blessings. Saturn is lessons, okay? So we are caught in this point where we have one planet trying to just shower us with gifts and opportunities, but then we have another planet being like, wait, there's still work to do, okay? Here's another metaphor that I have for that, just sort of an image that Spirit brought to mind last night when I tried to do a dumb thing, that helped to show me where a lot of us are right now. It's just, I'm dumb. I got this first degree Cancer Venus, and it just turns me into a fool sometimes. But it's not that big of a deal. Basically, it's just a situation with a guy. I connected with this guy a while ago. It's really bad timing. Like, he's got stuff he's going through big time, and I've got things I'm going through. So it was just kind of like, we just connected. It hadn't been too long ago, but, like, I've been doing all this impressing, okay? It is an astrology lesson, but I'm going to be talking about tarot a lot. In fact, I got my Morgan Greer cards with me here. We'll talk about that a little bit more. So I've been just like riding these Empress waves and like feeling that energy. And I'm going to be real with you, every now and then, I seek the company of an emperor, if you will. Not for any, anything that I'm seeking necessarily. It's just sometimes when you're sitting in your power, it's good to have somebody who can reflect that power back to you. I felt like reaching out to this person and just like, hey, just thinking about you, how's it going? And immediately after I sent that message, Spirit brought me this image of a chocolate milk carton. Do you guys remember in elementary school? Maybe middle school, whatever, if you went to public schools, okay, so you're at lunchtime, and like, if you don't, one of the greatest things about the day is lunchtime, okay, so you got your 25 minutes to chill with your friends, get your chalky milk, all right, grab your carton, you grab your tray, you sit down at the table, you open it up, you pop in the straw, boom, your milk is icy. You guys remember that? What it's like to get like a milk carton and open it up, and you're so ready to take a drink of that milk, and it's got these like icy flakes in it. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like when the milk's not ready yet. It had been cooled too much. It had been chilled too much. It was frozen. So the image that I got was like, yeah, you could put a straw in it and drink this milk right now, but it's not going to be the milk experience that you're looking for. And so I just put the phone down. I put it on silence. I didn't get a response, and that's okay. I'm really kind of like, the universe is telling me why I'm not getting one right now. But it brought me that image of the frozen milk carton, and that's where we're at right now. Like, we just still have a little bit more thawing. There's a lot of things we can move forward with at this time, but it's not necessarily going to be the complete experience that we're looking for. So we have to let Saturn do its job for about the next month or so, and then I think we're really going to start seeing amazing blossoming when it comes to our karmic planets, our blessings and our lessons. So now that I've done the intro, 15 minutes into the video, I'm ready to actually start the lesson. I just have an outline, and like I said before, I'm a rambler. So I just kind of a loose outline of what I want to talk about today. I want to go ahead and introduce you to sort of my educational philosophy when it comes to soul school, and when it comes to all the things I'm teaching you. Look at me, I'm ridiculous. I was trying to get ready and set up, and I've got crystals everywhere. I've got candles everywhere. Like, I was so excited to get back into like school mode that like I just kind of freaked out. I have things everywhere now. So let me introduce you to my space. This is just my living room. I'm going to go ahead and light my candles. Some of you that don't know, like basically, I quit a job where I was making a lot of money. I had my benefits. I was doing my thing. I had that 10th house energy going. Thank you, Saturn. But my heart was really suffocated there. It was really, I knew in a big way that I had to call my energy back home. And so that's what I've done. And to give myself a creative outlet, in the meantime, I started making up these manifestation candles. So, this is a tea light that I added some ingredients to. We've got chamomile, for calming the mind, orris root, for just kind of opening up the thought process and communication. And then, gosh, I just knew the other thing in here and I already forgot it. Senna. Senna is going to help us focus our thoughts on what is real and grounded in reality. It's just going to kind of help us get away from our fantasies and illusions. A lot of those are reflections of ourselves. And so, Clear the Air is the name of this blend. These are available 2 for $3, 4 for $5, 10 for $10 here in Lawrence, Kansas. If you're around, hit me up. I will hook you up with that. Then I have this one right here. This is my personal favorite blend. I don't sell this nearly as much, but that's okay because I'll burn them all at home. This is a votive candle with hibiscus, marshmallow root, and orris root. So, for peace of mind, opening up energetic channels to be able to receive message from spirit, really, that's a big part of what this is about. Hibiscus is great for divination. I actually make Jamaica. If you guys have never had Jamaica, it's spelled like Jamaica. Look it up. It's an amazing, amazing beverage, and it is made of the hibiscus flower. So I drink that all day long to keep myself divine, and I think you should too. All right. So I've got my candles. I've got my crystals. I have today a kyanite. This is a part of the intro, you guys. Stick with me, okay? So kyanite is really good. Actually, if you see me pick up this rock and touch it to my head, I literally have forgotten a word, and boom, it'll come back to me. I love kyanite. It's great for clarity of mind, opens up the third eye, and I think there's also some connection to the throat chakra. In my mind, it just kind of helps me to be able to communicate the things that I'm thinking and feeling. That's what Fred was playing with. What else? I have an amethyst. This is a rough amethyst. I love my rocks big and fat and rough around the edges. Amethyst is good for letting things go. And that's just something we have to do when we're dealing with karma. It's all about letting things go and letting new things come in. We got a lot of that happening. And then I got a nice little quartz. These are just kind of, I like to work in threes. So these are the 3 that I have on hand right now. I've also got Julie with me. Yes, I named my rock. This is Julie. She's a record keeper quartz. Big old fat. She's from, you can maybe see some of the triangles. But she came from, she's broken in half. She started healing herself on the back. She's amazing. I love her. She's a record keeper. I just always like to have her on hand whenever I woke up literally at 2 o'clock in the morning and I just was feeling things I didn't understand. I was thinking things I didn't understand. I just had to reconnect with myself. I curled up with Julie in bed. Yes, I sleep with my rocks. Just know it, okay? And I just, it really helps me kind of to meditate on myself. So, What else do we have present? This is Morgan. I think we already talked about it. Morgan is my tarot deck. I've been doing a lot of tarot reading lately. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this video, have a more intellectual approach to the subject matter, just because of the fact that I've been spending a lot of time in my intuitive mind. And I got to balance that. So here we're getting intellectual. But today I was walking around my house, my apartment this morning. It's kind of tiny. And I was like, I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to make that video today. And I heard this voice that was like, we are going to make that video today. And that was Morgan talking to me. This is my very first tarot deck that I ever purchased for myself. I call her Morgan because it is a Morgan career deck. It's the most beautiful. Look at those faces. I love it. I love it. I bought it for myself. Yes, you can do that. I bought it for myself in 1998, I think, when I was pregnant with my son. And we have a very long relationship. She is just, she's amazing. She's strong. She has quite a personality. And so she just insisted on being present today. I have a feeling she's going to want us to take a peek at some cards by the time we get done with it. So we're 20 minutes in right now. Okay, that's going to be a long old video. The last 2 years when I was teaching block classes that lasted 86 minutes. So I promise I'm not going to make you stay for that long. But, I got my water. Stay hydrated. The more time I spend in my intuitive mind, the more I'm thirsty for water, not like other things. But I just gotta listen to your body, and then of course we gotta keep that intellectual mind going. So I got my coffee mug. That's one of my favorite coffee mugs. Y'all remember Jurassic Park? I love Jurassic Park. And it's that scene where, like, a super hot Jeff Goldblum is trying to do his whole philosophical shtick in front of Laura Dern and her partner, which was cute. We all know how intellectual guys get when they try to flirt. It's kind of hilarious. And he goes on this, like, oh my gosh, like, you know, oh man, God created dinosaurs, and God destroyed dinosaurs, and then God created man, and man destroyed God, and man created dinosaurs. And she says, dinosaurs eat men, a woman inherits the earth. So this is just my vibe. Welcome, guys. This is me. Last thing I want to show you that I've got with me here for our lesson today is dramatic pauses. Just kidding. It's our suggested reading for all students of Soul School. Okay. 7 Mysteries of Life by Guy Murchie. This is where I get the idea, the concept of a soul school, of life, of our time here on earth as a time for our souls to be learning. That's what we're here for. Guy Murchie, he's a very prolific writer. Read everything. Read Music of the Spheres. Read Soul School. That's actually, I believe, that it was autobiography. But he sets forth the idea in this book, The 7 Mysteries of Life. And a real quick, and trust me, all of this has to do with Jupiter and Saturn in a really big way, okay? The 7 Mysteries of Life is this thick. Okay, you guys. I think I first read it back in like 2001. And it's a scientific book. It's a book about science. But this guy was a practicing member of the Baha'i faith. And his concern was really like, how do we reconcile all the things that we know about the physical material scientific world? How do we reconcile all of that intellect with this human experience of why are we here? What are we doing here? Okay. So he talks about the natural world in a way that, like, it's giddy. Like, he has such a crush on life and nature and everything in the universe. And just like he explores, there's just some amazing concepts in this book. The germination of worlds, the idea that there are 35 senses that exist in the animal kingdom, plant and animal kingdom, actually. But so many great things. Okay. But it's this big. When you have the time, read it. I am going to just share with you an excerpt from this book where the idea of soul school comes from. This is page 621 on this edition of the book. I really always kind of loved that. It looks like a universe, and that's something he talks about a lot. These microcosms and macrocosms. And it's this like if you wanted a scientific explanation for as above, so below, he's like, look at the way in which cells are just like universes and galaxies. And it's just like, it's all about synchronicity in the natural world. And for me, it really kind of helped to open up my mind to receiving synchronicity that can't be explained by science. Okay, so he talks about all these amazing things that we know about the planet. And then he talks about sort of what is the combined knowledge that humanity has come up with when it comes to soul searching with religion and philosophy throughout the years. And this is his argument here. We're trying to figure out, why are we here? Okay. Thus at last, he says on page 621, we arrive at the only hypothesis for the nature of this troubled world that fits all the known facts. So he's like, yo, based on all the things that I already talked about in this big ass book, all 620 pages before this, here's what I think this leads to, okay? Quote, the hypothesis that planet Earth is, in essence, a soul school. For the soul is a part of us that is incorporeal. I love that word. I love words. Incorporeal, immortal, and made of spirit. And it should be joyous news to mankind that a soul school has been found, in which we are duly enrolled, in which raising souls is the prime goal. So that's where I got this concept of soul school. We're all raising our own souls right now. Okay? Don't think of me as your professor. I've been called professor before. I did teach at the university. And I wasn't mad about it, even though it was an official title. They know me as Miss Easley. They know me as Miss. My friends call me Molly. Don't think of me as the teacher of Soul School. Think of me as just like, this is study group, y'all. It's study group. I'm going to learn from you. You're going to learn from me. Okay. That's what it is, a soul school. And then here's what he continues to say. Indeed, I feel like shouting. Praise God, oh humans, for your problems. The worse, the better, and look for more, because problems are what you are made of. They are woven into the very texture of the world, and every pain and trouble is food for the spirit, without which it cannot grow. So thanks for letting me just take some time to read. My background, of course, is in literature and history, so it's just, quoting from books is a fun thing to do. So there is my recommended reading. Soul School, get on board. It is a collection of lessons, okay? If life is made of problems, if we are made of problems, first of all, stop judging yourself. We're all made of problems, okay? Another way of looking at that is that the process of living life is the process of generating solutions. I like that positive spin. So, it's all about karma. Okay, because I believe, and Guy Murchie, I think, also believes that we don't just have this one life. We're going through several, okay? And we have several lessons. We're evolving, we're learning, we're germinating as a species, okay? All of humanity is going through this. And on a personal level, I believe that the best way of really understanding the life lessons that karma has ready for you is by looking in your natal chart at Jupiter and Saturn. So, 30 minutes in, we're finally going to start talking about Jupiter and Saturn. All right. So I am doodling right now just to help me channel my thoughts. Let's talk about the importance of planetary archetypes. If you're new to studying astrology, you're probably trying to master sun signs. What are Aries characteristics? What's Taurus, Gemini, Cancer? What are all these things? Don't mess with houses yet. Hold off on houses. Okay, houses is like junior year level astrology. Okay, you don't do that freshman year. If you're doing that right now, if you're new to astrology and you're trying to learn the sun signs, stop what you're doing, please. Okay, my curriculum is going to have us look first at planetary energies, okay, planetary archetypes, because there's only 10 of those as opposed to 12 sun signs, and you can, or zodiac signs, I should say, and just divorce the sun from it all right now, okay? So that is going to be my primary goal as we move through these lessons. I'm going to be talking about the archetypes for all the different planets. And so today, a big part of the lesson is the archetype. What is Jupiter? Archetype, archetypal energy. Is that the right? Archetypal? Anyways, and what's Jupiter and Saturn? What are their archetypal energies? Some metaphors that I have for that. But first, let's set those in context of how I categorize the planets, okay? First of all, we have our luminaries. These are the sun and the moon, okay? Our inner self, our outer self. That's very, very personal. It's all about us, okay? The personal planets is another way to call this. Interpersonal planets are going to be Mercury, It's all about communication. Mars is how we exert ourselves, with in our groups, our relationships with other people. Venus is just what are the things that we value. So I like to call those the interpersonal planets because they tell us a lot about the way that we relate to people. And I'm going to skip the karmic planets right now to talk about the outer planets. Okay, the outer planets are Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. And as you'll see when we go through these lessons, each of those is sort of a higher evolution, a higher vibration energy of Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Okay, so we'll talk about those later. Those are, they carry a lot of the same energy as the interpersonal planets, but it's less you interacting with other people and more the way that you're interacting with the world while you're here in this lifetime on Earth. Okay, so the karmic planets, Jupiter and Saturn, like I said, Jupiter is lessons. I did it again. Jupiter is blessings. Saturn is lessons. Okay. So, these planets and the way that they show up in our natal chart can really, inform us a lot on our place in the world. Okay, are we lucky people? Are we unlucky people? Do we have a lot of challenges this time around? Do we have a lot of blessings this time around? There's Betty. Do you have, Jupiter is my chart ruler, actually, and I feel so freaking blessed. Oh my gosh. Saturn is not super strong in my chart. Oh man, when it comes around, it comes around. Oh, we can talk about that. Okay. So Jupiter is Jove. He's Zeus. Okay. He's Thor. He is the king of the gods. Saturn's kind of like this grumpy, little brother, I guess. If you get into Greek and Roman mythology and all that stuff, you can learn all about those particular archetypes. But Jupiter is an expansive energy. Okay. If you are, for instance, any planet that you have in conjunction to Jupiter in your natal chart, or in aspect to Jupiter in a synastry chart, that's an expansion of that energy. Like my last lover was not he wasn't somebody who was comfortable in his emotions, and my moon contacted his Jupiter, and so for some reason I was like way more emotional around him than like most people that I ever dealt with, and that was just kind of like, obviously that was not a great aspect for us. But Jupiter does that. Everything it touches, it expands. It wants to elevate. It wants to promote. It wants to befriend. Okay. It wants to bless. All right. Saturn, he's our lessons. Okay. Saturn is a very restrictive energy. Saturn, in fact, like if you want to think about the Sagittarius, as you know, to describe the Jupiter energy, and think about the Capricorns that you know to describe Saturn energy. Saturn is all of those things that must be worked for. Okay. Saturn is restriction and it's limitation, and those things exist in life to teach us. And so when we start talking about, how do we begin to participate in the soul school? How do we enroll in the soul school? We have to start paying attention to the fact that you're here to learn certain lessons in your life. I'm not here to tell you what those lessons are. Okay. You can get a lot of insight to them, however, by studying your own natal chart. Okay. Or pay somebody to do it. You can pay me to do it. I'll do it for you. I need some money right now. But I'm an educator. I want to empower you guys. So that's why I'm here doing this right now. Okay. Here is an analogy that people often, tarot readers often use. I'm going to just see Morgan, see if we got these on hand. A lot of people associate Saturn with the Devil card. I really like the Devil card in the Morgan deck, so I'm just kind of flipping through right now to see if I can find out what we're talking about. Restrictions and limitations, okay? The Devil card shows up when we are addicted to something, we are enslaved to something. We don't see any other way but being chained to that one thing, okay? And yeah, restrictions and limitations. Where are you at? Okay. Traditional Rider-Waite has, y'all can look it up right now. I dropped my 10 of Pentacles. The Rider-Waite card has, and in fact, most Rider-Waite base decks will have an image of the devil sitting on his throne, and then there's two people in front of him. It looks a lot like the Lover's card, but where there's an angel in the Lover's card, there's the devil in the devil card, and then the people are not like just chilling in the garden, maybe thinking about asking each other out. The people are chained there. They have these chains around their necks. So one of the things I like about Morgan Greer is this deck kind of changes up that image a little bit. So, wow, look at those eyes. Yes, I love this devil card. But yeah, it just unfortunately doesn't show us that being chained to something. Okay, so restrictions and limitations are often compared to the devil. All right, Saturn, people call Saturn the devil, and they call Jupiter God. Okay, like, oh, Jupiter's God, and he blesses us, and Saturn is the devil, and he's here to send us to hell. No, break away from that, you guys. Read Beyond Good and Evil by Nietzsche, and just get over that. I see them more as good cop, bad cop. And in fact, to go ahead and maintain some of the Judeo-Christian legacy behind the association of Jupiter as God and Saturn as the devil, I would like to propose the hypothesis. My analogy is that, and here's your history lesson for the day. You are not going to get out of this without a history lesson. That's my jam, okay? The difference between the Old Testament God and the New Testament God. Okay. Argue with me if you want to. Okay. I taught the history of religion, for several years at university. And one of the realizations that I made is there's this fundamental difference in what religion was being outlined in the Old Testament versus what religion was being outlined. What kind of God are we worshiping in each of these? The Old Testament, the Hebrew God, Yahweh, if I'm allowed to say that, which I am because it's not my jam. The Old Testament is a book of rules, okay? It is a list of restrictions, limitations. It is about work, okay? Ancient Judaism was very much designed to be this a work program, okay? Like you have to do the acts, you have to do the work, okay, in order to receive what God has to offer you, okay? But you have to do the actual work. You have to limit yourself. You have dietary restrictions. There's all these laws. And I mean, there's a whole socio-historical context for why that served the ancient Hebrews. But if you look at the Old Testament, okay, you get a God that is much like Saturn. Much like Saturn. You've got to work for it. You've got to earn it. In its legacy, it is you, dude. Okay, he promised the whole ass land to these people, okay, to Abraham. Abraham, yo, this is my Old Testament God voice. Yo, Abraham, I want to be your God. I got a good deal for you and your people. I got this whole piece of land I'm going to set you up on. But here's the catch, Abraham. You're not going to be around to see that. When Moses led his people out of slavery in Egypt, he was not around to see them living in liberation afterwards. Moses did not get to see the promised land. Abraham did not get to see the promised land. They just put the work into what was going to pay off later. Okay, this is Saturn energy. This is serious Saturn energy. The quote that just came to mind, I hope I get it right, is that, it's something about people who plant trees that they will never see grow to their height. Okay. Abraham planted a tree. Moses planted a tree. He was not around. They were not around to pick the fruits of that tree, but they did the work. Okay. They did the work to set down that foundation, that thing that had to be earned over a very, very, very long time by complying with restrictions and limitations. That's Saturn energy right there. Okay. So, fast forward the history of the Jewish people to the time of the Roman Empire, okay? And Caesar comes along, Augustus comes along. Y'all know why Jesus was born in the manger. His parents had to go report to the census under the Roman Emperor. And this caused a really huge cultural and social and religious, like spiritual problem for boo-boo. The ancient Hebrews in Judea, he is literally systematically knocking every single crystal. Stop it. Off of my coffee table and batting around the floor. Stop it, boo-boo. All right. So, the Jews are living in Rome or Judea. Judea is overtaken by Rome. I'm sorry, the Jews are not. Okay. They're living in it's now the Roman Empire. It used to be their land that got promised to them. And in their land, they were able to abide by their own laws. Okay. That was huge. And then the emperor comes in, Augustus comes in, he's like, new laws. In fact, new gods too, okay? Forget your temple. We're going to build one to me, the emperor. And that caused, I can't even imagine what it was like to live in that time period, okay? But you had a lot of people coming out of the works being like, yeah, that's okay, you guys. Here's how we can still continue to be these devout, faithful people. Here's how we can still continue our religion, even though we're not allowed to, literally, like we're not even allowed to legislate our own land. We cannot follow these laws that God freaking gave to Moses on some clay tablets on the top of a mountain, okay? So these laws, these restrictions were so important to these people, and they had to find a way, once those laws were taken away and replaced with the laws of the Roman Empire, they had to find a way to still follow their God. And there was this dude that came along named Jesus of Nazareth, okay? And he said, yo, check this out. We got a New Testament. We got a new way of looking at God. And in fact, by the time Jesus didn't write down his own stuff, you know that. It was like 100 years before his words were written on paper. And the people who wrote them on paper were very strongly influenced by the Greco-Roman world. Okay? So, by the time you really get Christianity as a religion, people are out there like spreading in the Roman Empire. It's against the law, but we're still doing it. The message there was, yeah, it's not just about maintaining the covenant here in the lifetime. I'm going to give you a really, really, really ambitious Jupiter-ass goal. Everlasting life. Everlasting life. And what do you have to do, Christians, to get your everlasting life? You have to have faith. You have to believe, okay? So this is a huge shift between a religion where you have to do the things to a religion where you have to believe the things, okay? Jupiter, Sagittarius energy is all about faith. It's all about like all of our spiritual wanderings, all of that. New Testament religion is, in my argument, my educated opinion, a much more intellectual, spiritual, rather than a practical thing. Okay? So if I haven't lost you so far, the point of this is Jupiter's not God and Saturn's Satan. No. Saturn is the Old Testament God. Okay? He wants you to work for the things. You have to follow the rules. You have to restrict your diet. You have to do autonomy. You have to, like, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta stone people if they do the wrong thing. There's a lot of restrictions and limitations in the Bible, in the Old Testament. Okay? That's Saturn energy. Okay? These are the things we have to work for. All right? The lessons you have to master in this lifetime. Saturn is the lessons. Jupiter is the blessings. New Testament God got a whole everlasting life for you. Okay? Heaven, the idea of heaven, like that evolved. Okay? That, the idea that the sky is the limit, but even really beyond that, like there's this other thing beyond the sky and we're all going to hang out there together and it's going to be great. And the New Testament God is very loving and he just wants to bless you. And of course that is a more modern, notion of Christianity, but I hope that I've gotten my point across. Jupiter and Saturn are the blessings and the lessons in life. Okay. So Now that we know that, now we know that's what they mean. All right, we're at 45 minutes. Maybe, I don't know, maybe an hour long. You can pause me and come back to me. I'm not going to be hurt. Okay, this might be your block lesson. It might be 86 minutes. Sorry. Not sorry. Okay, I'm getting all my teaching mojo out. Okay, so now that we've talked about what are Jupiter and what are Saturn, how can we look at our charts and make sense of that? Okay, well, Jupiter right now is, he's just gone direct at 14 degrees of Sagittarius. My ascendant is at the 20th degree of Sagittarius. So basically, over the last several months, Sagittarius, if you know how to read a natal wheel, you know, and transits, it's been kind of doing this nice little tap dance back and forth over my ascendant. First, it passed my ascendant. Where do I have this? In February of 2019, Jupiter was conjunct my ascendant. It moved beyond, and then it went direct. It went retrograde, crossed back over my ascendant again. I had this all written down. I had it written down in so many places. I got it charted. Okay. February 2019, Jupiter was conjunct my ascendant, my rising. Like that's the degree number 1 in my chart. Okay. How I see the world, which it's a Sagittarius rising. So Jupiter's actions there are really pretty significant. I'm paying a lot of attention to them. Remember, Jupiter's opportunity, he's blessings, he's expansion. So your ascendant is, how do you see the world? How do you see your path? How do you see your place in this world? What is your role? I am an explorer. I'm an adventurer. I am a spirit traveler. That's what Jupiter's trying to do with me, okay? In my life. That's what I'm trying to do with my life. And Jupiter had to remind me of that. And February 2019, we had that conjunct when Jupiter was in direct motion. Then Jupiter turned around. In May of 2019, it hit that point again. And in October 2019, now that Jupiter's direct, it's going to be touching that same point on my natal chart. So let's look back at other times when Jupiter was there. Actually, correction. I'm going to look at another time 2 years ago when Saturn was there. Okay. So, the way that I was exerting myself in the world 2 years ago, there's a lot of limitations and restrictions. I started off on a path. I had a goal. There was this one way that I could work to meet the goal. And I did it. I signed up. I had a 2 years, to get my restricted license. There were so many things I learned over this 2 years. So many things I learned over this 2 years. I got the job that I just left 2 years ago when Saturn was upon my ascendant. Okay. So Saturn was restricting the way I was able to exert myself in the world. Okay. Jupiter in that same position is like literally blowing the top off of the way that I'm able to exert myself in the world right now. I felt like, it was a choice that I had to make. It was a step that I had to make, but, leaving that position that I was in for 2 years really has helped to open me up to so many new opportunities. So paying attention to what Saturn and Jupiter are doing right now, I think that's just an example of just looking at like the way that they've aspected my ascendant. That's just one example of how you can start to look at your own chart and say, okay, where Jupiter and Saturn are at right now, especially in Sagittarius and in Capricorn, and how are they influencing your personal energy and life path, okay? So, I also, to talk about the importance of Jupiter, I went back and I looked at what are all the times. Did I write this down too? I've got notes everywhere. What were all of the times that Jupiter was in conjunction? Basically, when my Jupiter returned. Jupiter takes about 12 years. I lost myself there. 12 years to get around the sun. So basically, there's Jupiter on the day you were born. 12 years later, it's going to come back to that same spot it was in when you were born. Okay. Saturn does it every 28, 29 years. Any of y'all that haven't been there yet, That's when I had my first mental breakdown. Hopefully my last one. I had to jump ship hardcore. I was on a path that I was not meant to be on, and my Saturn return showed me how limited and restricted my view of the world had been. Fortunately, I don't have to do that again until like I'm 58. Okay, so thank goodness Saturn returns only come around every 29 years. I decided to look back at, well, okay, what's going on with my Jupiter returns? Okay, I didn't have any breakdowns those years, but every time that Jupiter entered Virgo in the last 3 times that's happened, my Jupiter is, I always forget, I've got Jupiter and Mars right there. One is at the 0 degree of Virgo, and one is at the second or third. But basically, every time Jupiter came back around to where it's at on my natal chart, I was leaving something behind and venturing forward to something new. And most of the times I look back and I'm like, I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I wasn't supposed to be doing the thing that I had been doing. Okay. So, Jupiter it's very expansive energy. It can really, really help you break out of some boxes. Saturn, a very limiting, restricting energy. And when you go through your Saturn returns, just be ready for it. Be ready for it. I'm sure I'll talk about it in a video some other point in time. But here's my rambling about Jupiter and Saturn and what they are. What are the karmic planets? Okay, so those are your archetypal energies. Archetypal, I don't know. Good cop, bad cop. Okay, blessings and lessons. Okay, that's what our karmic planets are bringing into our lives. That's what we can learn about our lives by looking at our natal chart. And now we're creeping up on an hour. Okay, so Morgan's like, girl, shut up. Let me take over. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull a couple cards for you guys. And I want to pull 2 cards, okay? I want to pull a message from Jupiter, who's just gone direct. He's expanding. He's exploring. He is ready to move in his home sign of Sagittarius, okay? So, where should we be looking for these blessings? What blessings does Jupiter want to bring to us? And then I want to pull a second card for Saturn, because Saturn is sitting there in retrograde motion in Capricorn. Another really great thing, by the way, that's just made me realize, I also look back at where when Saturn was at the 0 degree of Capricorn, because that's opposite my Venus. And I was so hella restricting myself in relationships. I was playing the role of that girl in the devil card who has the chain around her neck, and she's like, okay, well, I don't see it any other way. I'm just kind of obsessed with this thing. And, yeah, lessons learned. Way to go, Saturn. Way to play me like that. Let me play myself, because honestly, I'm not even mad about it right now. I've learned things about myself. That's the beauty of Saturn. Okay, that's the beauty of Saturn. So, our first card, we're going to ask, what blessings does Jupiter have for us right now? All of us, the world, everybody watching right now. It's a collective reading for all of us, okay, me included. And then the second card, I want to see, what advice does Saturn have for us regarding the restrictions and limitations that are remaining in place until about, I think, September 17th. Saturn's going to go direct, so give it a couple days. It's a slow-moving planet. But you'll start to see the chains falling away. You'll start to see that there are these other ways, that you being chained to this one thing is not the only way that it has to be. Okay, I'm going to shut up now and get my mind on these cards. So 2 cards here. One more shuffle, and then she wants me to split. Okay. Very distinct there. She's talking. Ooh, okay. So So I'm not that surprised. They're both major arcana cards, and I'm not surprised by that at all. I am not surprised. Oh, this segment makes me a little sad. Jupiter going direct. Look what he gave us. The Chariot. Go forth. Go. It's time. Whatever it is that you've been thinking about for a long time, whatever direction you're wanting to move into, this is momentum. This is energy. This is just saying go. Okay? The Chariot is this whole vehicle. Okay? But let's look at you and I. We're the chariots here. Okay? That guy, stop and picture a man on a chariot. He's not moving very much, is he? Nope. He's going forward in the world, but he physically is holding himself really pretty still. And all of his energy is going into just applying the right amount of pressure to those reins, okay? Because these horses are really what's moving him forward, okay? One is white. These are the things that he's aware of, the parts of himself that he knows. One is black. It's those parts of himself that he doesn't. Okay, so really trying to channel and balance, get those two parts of ourselves to work together. You've got to get the light and the dark to work together in order to move forward right now. Okay, that is, I believe, what Jupiter wants us to know by showing us the Chariot. Okay, but whatever it is that you have been wanting to do, green light. Okay, green light, go. Those roads are open. However, I like you. Thank you, sir. Saturn showing us this. The Lover's reversed. Okay. Maybe it's about love, but really it's about a choice. It's about, and it's reversed, which doesn't mean like this energy would not show up if this energy was not present. Because it's reversed, we're waiting on it. We're waiting on it, okay? Like, it's out there. It's just not able to manifest. I believe that you've got the momentum. You've got the potential. You've got ideas. Chariot's actually a water card, okay? Put your feelings into that shit, okay? Talk to your heart and where it wants to go. And start to form a plan. Start to work on the light and the dark inside of you so you can be ready to move forward when it's time to move. But if there's a big choice that moving forward is dependent on, you're going to have to wait because we don't see everything that we need to see yet. Okay. We don't see everything that we need to see. Lovers is, the Gemini card. Okay. So there's two sides to this. And we can only see one of them right now. We can only see one of them right now. All right. So if you're feeling the green light go, do it. But when you're running into roadblocks, it's going to be around this. It's not the best time to make a choice, okay? So, Saturn still has more to teach us in this last month. I'm done. I haven't been over yet. No, it's not. Saturn has a lot to teach us in this last month, and when it is ready to go direct, I think it's going to empower us to be able to make a really big choice about something that we've been holding on. It's the energy is there, the desire is there, but we're not in a place where we can choose that yet. Okay, so thank you guys so much for humoring. Blessings, lessons. Okay, this is your message from Jupiter and Saturn. And this is your lesson on archetypal energies of Jupiter and Saturn. Thanks for hanging out. Wrapping up an hour. Y'all did so good. You need to take yourselves out to recess right now. Thank you for being here with me. And I hope you have an amazing, amazing week ahead. Bye.